freight tariffs, and also we intend to enter into long-term service level agreements with our key customers. The idea is to claw back the lost modal share. Right now we have a modal share of about 30%, and we hope that by 2030 we should be close to somewhere to about 50% with all our efforts. On the customer service side, through the use of IT and basically focusing on cleanliness, we've taken a number of measures to improve the quality of service being provided to the customers. So we have the Clean My Coach service, where through a simple SMS, a passenger can complain regarding any unhygienic or dirty condition that he may find while he's on board. The number of OPHS, that is on-board housekeeping service for trains, the number of trains has gone up substantially, and we intend to take this up to 1,000 trains. Another initiative that has been a major success is the real-time resolution of problems of our passengers through the use of social media. There have been certain changes in the approval and appraisal process, etc. In terms, the minister has delegated his powers, and there has been onward delegation, so which has cut down on decision-making time substantially. We are undertaking accounting reforms to bring in more transparency and accountability in terms of our numbers and our accounts. And of course, as Mr. Vedlingam said, that we are also hoping to bring in an independent regulator. Finally, on the financial health side, there is a major focus on optimizing costs. We are looking at optimizing our diesel consumption and entering into long-term PPAs. We have achieved quite some success on this front. And on the revenue side, we are focusing on non-fare revenues. So every kind of measure is being taken. So like night wrapping of trains, branding of stations. We are also setting up a railway display network, which will be a new medium for advertising and information dissemination. Maybe a railway TV channel, a radio channel, all these things are being experimented with. So these are the initiatives that we have taken and propose to take. I will now hand over the presentation to Mr. Mukul Mathur, ED PPP, who will talk about the initiatives on Indian Railways for enhancing private participation.
Good evening and thanks, Namita. Before I start, I'll not stick to these specific slides. Maybe somewhere I will jump on depending on the time constraint. But the PPP process, I always take a minute to explain that when we started from 2000, how the journey has been in the last 14 years. It is always divided into three phases. One, when we started this PPP whole business with Mundra connectivity and power and data in 2002. 2002 onwards to 2007 was first phase, and 2007 to 2012 was, I would state, as the second phase, and 2012 onwards is the third phase. When we started from 2002, all the joint ventures or the private line model that we experimented actually came up initially till 2007, and 7 to 12 was the phase where actually we did not get any financial commitments on any of our projects. So roughly in the first year, we were able to generate roughly 3,000 crores from 5 projects, which were joint venture projects. And now, subsequently, after 2012, when we refined our whole policy on the public-private partnership and defined models, we have been able to generate an investment to the tune of normally 15 to 16,000 crores in the last 2 to 3 years. So that actually indicates the robustness of the models that have been created. The framework agreements are in place. We have advised the zonal railways to actually create the whole paraphernalia of the PPP cell, get them educated on the models which are available. But if you look at this slide, this is indicating how the government of India over the different plan size, except the railways, although railways have also started increasing slightly in last 3-5 years plan, the 12 5-year plan this year going up to 8% as far as the PPP in the rail sector is concerned. But still a lot of catching has to be done as compared to the other sectors. But predominantly, if you look at railways, look at the areas are very, very clearly earmarked. One is the line connectivity project, station development, rolling stock, whether it is locomotive, coaches or battery manufacturing, private freight terminals. These are four major areas where we have been able to generate investment. And of course, acquisition of rolling stock through leasing and the wagons. When the joint venture process started way back in 2002 with Pipavav, now we have roughly around 12 joint venture companies operating, already functioning. And I'll not go into the details of each company, but since a lot of financial institution people are there, just to indicate that some of the projects where the financial closure has not taken place, they are the opportunities for these people to actually tap resources, get into financing of such projects. One is Oglavaram Krishnapatnam, the phase 2 project is under implementation. Hardaspur, Paradip, and Angul Sukinda, they are under implementation. So there are chances of financial institutions coming up. Jaigarh Digni is again a new line for the Jaigarh port. Again, financial closure has not taken place. Dighi port, Ragha Jagdalpur mine line, this is in Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, sorry. 2 coal projects in Chhattisgarh, they are taking off, where again financial closure and the debt funding has to get tied up. Revas port line and Bhuj Nalia, this is again a joint venture. So these are all joint venture projects where the financial close has to take place. So these are opportunities for financial institutions and banks to actually come up. Locomotive factories, these are 2 factories, Madhepur and Marora, as you are aware of. These have already been awarded successfully, and which has given us ample opportunity to actually now experiment with more of similar such projects. The next project is coming up on Kachra Para, which is the EMU and MEMU based rolling stock to be procured. The bidding process is on. RFP has been issued. RFQ, we have already shortlisted 3 potential bidders in the process, and the RFP process is going on. The participated model of 2012, when it came up, it talked about actually 5 models. We have experimented with 3 models. That is the private line model. We have Dhamra port and the Mundra port on those lines. Even Tuna port is on the model. So we have 3 projects which are presently functioning. The other is the joint venture model, which is a predominantly very successful model where the concession is involved for 30 odd years and 25 years. So we have in the new model documents a flexible concession period. So that means 25 to 35 years, depending on the traffic utilization, is the concession period. So it is not fixed as in the earlier model. So the investor and the banking institutions can be assured of the adequate return from these projects. BOT and annuity model is again, we have prepared the model documents. We have still to experiment. BOT, a project of Gomo Dankuni as part of the dedicated freight corridor will be launched. The land acquisition process is currently on. And once we have acquired 90% of the land, we will actually launch the RFQ for that project, which is roughly around 6,000 crore. So you can see this snapshot that till now we have done around 35 bought PPP projects. This is only rail connectivity I am talking about, which has given an investment, financial investment commitment of roughly around 24,000 crore. Out of this 24,000, I am talking that only 3,000 actually came in the first phase. So most of the investment is post 2012 commitment. So a lot of robustness as far as these models are concerned. In 2014, when the FDI policy was revamped and the FDI sector was opened by the railways, almost all of the areas have been opened. Suburban corridor development, we have been experimenting with this elevated corridor in Mumbai. We could not successfully implement that project 2 years back because the state support agreement is still not finalized. Again, we are trying to launch this project soon through the MRTC route. High-speed train projects is the second area. Dedicated freight lines, ports and mines, this is another area which is now open. Construction, operation, maintenance of all these lines. Rolling stock maintenance and manufacturing facilities, electrification, signaling system, concessioning of branch line. I'll just take a minute on a few of the new areas that have been included, and I won't say the general managers are also here. Actually, take up some of these projects and do some kind of work on them, because I feel there's good potential to actually launch projects on these, which are loss-making lines, concessioning of branch lines. We are in a process of framing the model documents for this model. In another 2-3 months, we will be ready with the model documents. So that the framework agreement will be in place. If we can find a suitable bidder through discussions with the local investors, that's something which is welcome. Freight terminal and logistic park is again a good successful area. We have revamped this policy last year by removing the revenue sharing arrangements. Passenger terminal again, they will talk about subsequently. Non-conventional energy of sources, the solar is now coming up. We are going in for the rooftop and the land-based solar projects, and successfully I'll come to it in a minute that the bidding process has been launched for both these things. Testing facilities, technical training institute. These are new areas which I feel we have been discussing with some of the potential candidates in the market. And the zonal railway will actually need to do some kind of a marketing for these projects, because I feel that there are tremendous potential for marketing of these areas. Because if you look at how the airline actually progressed and how the air hostess training academies came up with the boom of the airline industry, similar potential actually exists in the railways, where you can actually outsource some of the similar training institutes to the private sector and have non-safety category being trained, thereby reducing the whole training cost for Indian Railways. So some we are doing again preparing the model documents for all these areas. In 6 or 7 areas we are preparing the model documents that will be available in 6 months' time. On the rolling stock front, Kachrapara I have already talked. Palakkad, Kerala, a rail coach factory for manufacturing of 600 coaches. Again, the bid documents are under approval. The bid documents have been prepared. Wagon manufacturing in Kulti in West Bengal, that is already a joint venture with rights and sale, is already functional, 120 crore project. But these are I am sharing for the purpose of the financial institutions and investors who are keen to actually debt financing some of these projects. These companies are looking for some kind of a debt financing. Raebareli, again, forged wheel factory is also operational. Solar and wind energy, as I said, that even wind now, the tenders have been floated for 60 megawatt wind energy projects. Both for railways have tied up with the REVA Ultra Mega Solar, that is RUMS for 50 megawatt, and the Solar Energy Corporation of India, that is SECI for 190 megawatt land-based solar plant. So this start has been made on the wind and the solar energy. Private freight terminals we already talked about. Private participation in container sector started in 2006. It's one of the good areas that is successfully moving up, but was somewhat in trouble when the economy was down. But again, this is a potential. But for the institutions and the investors, the potential actually exists in both. Doing the equity financing, debt financing, and also in conducting basically the feasibility studies of these projects, bid management processes of these projects, because it is a large scope where railways are moving not only on the rail connectivity project, but the station redevelopment, the joint ventures with the state that is being created, which my colleagues will subsequently talk to. I'll stop here considering the paucity of time and invite, I think, Rajesh Agarwal, Executive Director, Joint Venture, to talk more about how the joint venture with the states are progressing and what's the latest status. Rajesh, thank you.
Thank you, Mukul. This is one area which our Honorable MR has taken the initiative, and we went ahead. So here we would like to implement the railway projects which are solely being implemented by the Indian Railways along with the joint venture of the state participation. The purpose of this forming a state JV is to basically empower the states in planning the railway infrastructure. So far, railway being a central subject, every state comes to the Ministry of Railways, whatever they plan, and it becomes a bottleneck in the planners of the state government, whether it will come through or not. Now this venture, this SPV will give them the freedom to plan railway infrastructure in their own state or in combination of these states with a greater authority, with a greater their say in the project. So that is the first and fundamental objective, that they will have a more active representation in the project planning and implementation. Then definitely it will speed up the development of the railway project based upon the priority of the state. Otherwise, there is always some cross purposes, that this project is to be developed or other project is to be developed first. Then third thing which we want, including the participation of the financial institutions, to generate more financial resources for the purpose of implementing the project, as we have a very ambitious plan of implementing high cost projects. So this JV between Indian Railways and the state government will be a shell company kind of a thing, which will do the planning aspect, which will be responsible for development, implementation and financing of the identified viable railway projects, so that the money can come from the investors. Then it will basically look for a critical connectivity and capacity enhancement projects. If required, it can also take up the redevelopment of the stations, which otherwise will also be covered in detail by our next speaker. Incorporating and equity funding of the subsidiary, because for every identified project, this shell company will put some equity and arrange the debt equity structure from outside. We will do the financial closure, and thereafter the work will be taken up. So GVC will incorporate a subsidiary or a project SPV for each and every project to be taken for the implementation purpose. In case the project is not viable, then it is anticipated that the state government will acquire the land and give it to the project SPV to make it viable, free of cost. Because railway project per se is not very much viable unless there is a very substantial assured traffic. So at times we need to sweeten the deal by giving the land to them and permitting them to exploit the land also. So by giving the land to the project SPV, they can do some commercial exploitation of the land and try to make the project bankable or viable. So equity in the project SPV is infused by the JVC and other investors. Now we are solely doing the cost sharing arrangement with the state government or some other people. With the project SPV, we can definitely look for strategic investors or other private investors who are interested in that particular project. They can also chip in some money. So project SPV can avail debt from the lender, and long-term debt up to the 25-year tenure can be taken. So the structure of the JV is like this: Ministry of Railways and the state government, they will give the equity in the percentage of preferably 51% by the state government and 49% by the Ministry of Railways. We can go up to 50% maximum. Then we will form a JV company. This company, as I have told you, will be responsible for doing the planning and prioritizing the projects, and will do the financial closure for identified project. Once that financial closure is achieved, then that project SPV for implementing the project will be formed, where our domestic or foreign investors can also participate in the equity, which is otherwise not possible for the shell company. They can also give the money to this project SPV on a debt form, and then there will be a arrangement between the Indian Railways and the project SPV, where operation will be done by the Indian Railways. The maintenance and the construction part will be optional at the discretion of the project SPV, how they want to execute it and how they want to maintain it. So the process of the company which will follow the process: first we will identify the projects, and the state government and Ministry of Railways have initially identified some basket of the projects. I will give you the progress of that. And then once the project is identified, the first thing that they will undertake the DPR survey, that whatever information is available, that has to be re-verified. Because now we are going to test this into a market basis. So far it was only from a project sanction basis. So that will be done again to find out what is the updated results of those project fundamentals. Then we will be incorporating, if it is found bankable and it is getting sanctioned, then the project SPV will be formed as a subsidiary to the main share SPV, and then project will be undertaken. Thereafter, implementation will be done. As I have told you, construction and the maintenance is optional. Operation is by the Indian Railways. So project SPV, it will be implemented by a specialized agency. It can also be given to the zonal railways. If the SPV wants that, let the construction be done by the railway itself, it can be given to the zonal railway also. And then the concession period is up to 30 years. Normally, whatever project which we are going to close in this fashion, the money should be returned and the structure should be closed within a period of 30 years. then the cost of construction will be raised by the project SPV. Indian Railways will provide the junction arrangement from network wherever it will take off, on either end or on the single end. The connection to the existing network of the Indian Railways will be called junction arrangement, and that will be done by the railways, and the cost will be borne by the project SPV. The project SPV will also arrange funds from other stakeholders who are interested in that particular line. The land, I have told you that the state government will acquire. If it is viable project, then the cost will be borne by the project SPV. And if it is not a viable project and we still need it, we want to make it viable, then the land can be acquired by the state government and we give it to the project SPV to make it viable. Fare box revenue will be apportioned as per Indian Railway financial accounting rules, as we do it for other PPP models and other places. On a portion earning basis, then we will reduce the cost of the maintenance operation. Thereafter, the net will be paid to the project SPV as a revenue stream. In order to augment that, as I have told you, that land can be exploited by this project SPV, so that will become non-fare box collection plus any other thing which this project SPV can